Hello, and welcome back to Terraria with Brian. And you may notice something a little bit different on the screen today, as compared to previously. We've got the mini-map, which you can switch between. Here it is over in the top right. You can switch between that mode and then like having it kind of overlaid in the background, which looks really weird. And you can also take a look at it kind of full screen. And yeah, so let's talk about that. So, I started out not using the mini-map at all, because, I don't know, it kind of felt like a little bit cheaty to me or whatever, and yeah, like just gave the player like too much power and freedom kind of right from the start. In a game like Minecraft, like there's maps as well, but you have to craft them out of various materials, and you have to be holding them to look at them, whereas this just kind of anytime you go anywhere, like it automatically goes and maps that portion of the world, and then you can always return to it later, which is really useful. But I wanted to kind of earn it. And so in Terraria, there are a couple of objects that are kind of related to mapping. There's a compass that tells you how far left and right you are in the world, but I think that comes much later in the game before you can ever get it, and I've never gotten it before. There's also a depth meter. It used to be the case that you could craft the depth meter, but then in 1.2 they changed it, so the only way you could get the depth meter was as a rare drop from a cave bat, and I finally got that rare drop. And if you have the depth meter on, then over in the top left it shows you your current, if you're above ground or below ground, like how far you are. And so basically I just set myself the goal or whatever. I said I wasn't going to enable the map until I got the depth meter. I'm not going to bother like having it equipped all the time. But if we zoom out on the map, I was doing some caving for cave bats, because that's where you find... Oh, my clothier is way over there. He's at my little dungeon house. I was doing some caving down over in this area and fighting cave bats, and I finally got that rare drop of the depth meter. And so at that point, I enabled the mini-map and have since walked around the whole top of my world and gone down just my shaft down to the underworld. You can see the floating islands over there as well. But in any case, I was going to show you, I did catch on camera, quote-unquote off camera. I didn't have my microphone on and wasn't doing commentary, but I did catch me getting the rare drop of the depth meter from a cave bat, so let's go ahead and roll a clip of that really quick. And then one other thing when I was doing that caving run that I found was some other, I think, rare object that's some kind of knife that would have been a good early game weapon, because it seems like it fires really fast, but it's not really useful to me now. So let's roll a clip of that. Alright, so now that we have the map, I was thinking it's kind of ridiculous. I was thinking it would be fun to map the entire world, which is probably too much work, but it sounds kind of fun for me, kind of at the start. And I've got a lot of caves lit up that I didn't have the map enabled before, and so for example, like if we start going down here, well, very quickly you can actually watch how the map kind of like fills in as we go down here. So you can see, yes, some more of it just kind of like filled in. And so until you've actually walked through an area that's well lit, the map doesn't fill in, and you actually need the light, because if it's not lit up, like if I go down here, I guess, is it because I have my shadow orb that's giving off light? Oh, that's interesting. It seems like it fills in the map at kind of like full lighting. Oh, and there's a demon altar giving off light over here, and you can kind of see it on the mini-map. That's interesting, actually. I really haven't played around with it much. Yes, you can see the demon altar giving off light over here. And I think I've heard that you can also like use spelunker potions, which show off the ores in the wall, and those get... Oh, neat! So a nice thing about this gigantic fiery greatsword that I have is that it gives off light. And so I just can, you know, swing it, and then through the wall over here, I could see that there's like another cave system over here. So in any case, that's kind of like briefly how the maps work. Now that I am using the maps, my plan is that I'm actually going to kind of walk around all the cave systems I've lit up and do some more caving and just get a sense of like how much of the world I've already explored, because I don't have a good sense of that at this point in time. So I'm going to spend some time doing that, and I don't know if I'll do like a little montage or bring you guys back in if anything interesting happens or exactly what I'm going to do here, but I'll see you guys in a bit. So something interesting I just noticed about the map, look at where I am right here, and look at the smoothness of the lighting against the wall over here, kind of against this wall. Now if I walk over here and I swing my sword, which gives some lighting particles, those lighting particles actually even show up on the map. And so basically anything you've ever like spread some light onto before, like ends up kind of showing up on the map. And so that's kind of cool, especially having this sword, because it's just like a free way to like get a tiny bit of extra light through the walls and get a tiny bit more of the world mapped out. Alright, so after re-exploring one of the cave systems that I first went through in the ice biome, that's kind of what things look like. Looks like there's a little bit over there that I failed to re-explore, but that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go somewhere else now. Here's the map after mapping out one of the corruptions. You'll recall that this is the one with the deepest chasm that I had ever seen before, where we ended up fighting an Eater of Worlds in very cramped quarters. So that is pretty cool, and I think I'm gonna head over to the dungeon next. I ended up exploring one more cave before the dungeon that I just found along the way. That's not completely lit up, but I just walked through the parts that are already lit up. But next we'll head over to the dungeon, and we'll check out just how much of it I've already explored. So I've been mapping out the dungeon, and there are these various chests, and I think they actually show up on the map if you zoom in all the way. Yeah, there's like a little brown dot over there. Oops. I'm clicking on the map rather than actually swinging the sword. And so I think at some point that'll make those easier to kind of find and revisit. They all seem to be kind of clustered in this one area. I hadn't explored all of the dungeon yet, but I lit up some more of it as I've been doing this, and you can get a sense of just how big the dungeon is on the little mini-map there. Actually, let me go ahead and switch to the large map once I get things safe enough. Yeah, there you go. So the dungeon's pretty big, but I think at this point I've explored most of it, and so I think I'm going to call it a day on the dungeon as well. And I've also got an inventory full of crap, once again, as you often do when you're fighting in the dungeon. And so, yeah, I'm going to try to explore a few caves on the left-hand side as well, and just see just how much of this map we can fill in. Somewhere along the way I got a bomb statue, which is another one of the functional statues. And so it drops a bomb every time you step on it with a little bit of a cooldown timer. And so that's one way to gain a useful object. I wonder how long the timer is. There we go, there's another bomb. Somewhere along the way I got a bunny statue as well, which I can't remember if I showed you guys. But that, as you might suspect, spawns bunny rabbits. Not too useful, but something. So here's a bit more mapping. Once again, here's home. Here is the corruption that is just to the left of my home. And it goes down to a couple of the glowing mushroom areas that we had encountered before, as well as some of the wall spider areas. And so I've got a bit more of that mapped out now. I'm revisiting the underground jungle now, and it's kind of fun to go back through these areas to light them up on the map. Both just because you see so much progress so quickly in terms of just going through the map, the areas that are already lit, as well as the fact that with the current armor set that I have, I'm pretty much like invincible to everything. And so I just kind of like run around like a madman and just like kill everything in sight, and it's a lot of fun. Oh no, snatchers and hornets and things that used to scare me. I don't care about you guys at all now. I just run through the area swinging my sword, Not even worried about taking any damage, because I will hardly take any. I remember this area. It looks cool on the map, too. The beehives. Spiked Bezoar. Immunity to poison. I don't know that I've ever picked that up before. I got another cloud to bottle, another rash jellyfish necklace, another violent nature's gift along the way, but I don't know about that poison immunity thing before, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so I didn't map out the entire underground jungle that I explored, but there's a fair bit of it, and so that looks pretty cool. And yeah, I think at this point, I'll take a look and see if there's any other big cave systems that I've taken a look at, but I think at this point we might be pretty good. Oh, robot hat. That just dropped from a piranha. Interesting. I'd gotten that rare drop before and I wasn't sure where I got it from. I bet I got it from a piranha. Look at what my shadow orb is doing to the map of the ocean. Basically, everywhere I swim around with the shadow orb, it's kind of like leaving a little trail of light. That looks pretty cool. And then, of course, if I switch to a glow stick, it'll probably leave a bigger trail of light. Pretty cool. One thing that's annoying with my drop all the way down to the underworld is these cobwebs keep growing back in the spider area. Is there a way to get rid of the cobwebs? I don't actually know the answer to that. But if there is, it would definitely make it quicker to get down. In any case, I realize there's one place we still haven't mapped, and that's the portion of the underworld that I explored. I know I traveled far enough to the left that I was below the underground jungle, and so we are going to take a quick trip down there to fill in that portion of the map as well. And then I think we'll have a good sense of just how much of the map we have visited in this world versus how much of the map is yet to explore. Alright, I reached the edge of where I'd previously explored, and so I'm just curious to see... Okay, so I basically got to underground jungle. I've gone about halfway across the bottom of hell to the left. So that's interesting. Alright, so that's all the mapping I'm going to do for today. But there is our world, more or less. That's definitely not all of it. Like, I think there was only 2 beehives here, and I think I actually found 4 of them, and I know that this is connected in here somehow because I ended up going through this cave and coming out under these glowing mushrooms, for example. So I haven't mapped everywhere that I've ever been, but I have mapped a good portion of it at this point. And it is pretty interesting just to kind of like see the shapes that the world generates. Just like Minecraft, I feel like one of the best features of this game is kind of the random terrain generator, and the way that it works to kind of generate its various structures and things. So that is pretty cool. Sorry for the short episode, but this did take a long time to kind of film today. We're getting close to all the stuff pre-hard mode. There's a couple more things that I need to do. One is that there's still a number of items that I can craft. I haven't talked to the guide about like all the different things I can craft with various accessories and materials. There's some guns we haven't made yet, for example, that could be useful for fighting the Wall of Flesh and eventually moving on to hard mode. And then the other thing is I never built a new house, and I really need to build a new house, because my understanding is once you get into hard mode, you really want to have a house that's off the ground, because there's a number of flying enemies and a number of enemies who will walk in the doors and all kinds of crazy stuff, and so I really want to build a house in the sky up here to house all of my NPCs and to reorganize my storage, which has really become a mess because I've got stuff in all kinds of boxes over here now. So those are the things we probably need to do over the next couple of episodes, and then we will finally fight the Wall of Flesh, one of the final bosses of the game. Well, I guess not really a final boss, because that just kind of signals the transition to hard mode, where everything changes, and I'll have no idea what's going on, because I've never done that before. So, in any case, we'll call it here for a day. I hope that you guys are having a great day, as usual, and I will see you again soon with more Terraria. Bye-bye.